26-year-old office employee. I live together with my parents. About 10 years ago, around the time I was a freshman in high school, my father, who was a salaryman, collapsed due to illness. Now he's become completely healthy, but at the time, we were living a pretty poor life. My mom's part-time job wasn't enough to support our living expenses. That's why, while I was going to school, I picked up a few part-time jobs, and I was putting my money towards the family. To be honest, every day I was so sleepy, and it was physically tough. But it was for my family that I love so much. I could have worked as hard as needed. And plus, my grandpa, who lived in the neighborhood, also came over often and...
Paige! Granny asked me to do this. I brought over some food for you guys.
Granny, as in my grandmother. Yay! Thank you both as always!
Also, my friends, Mr. Williams and Mr. Harrison, and also Mr. Oscar and Mr. Kevin, they said that they weren't able to eat all of this by themselves, so they gave this to us. We received rice and vegetables straight from the farm, so you guys eat it.
Grandpa, as usual, you have so many connections. Wait, it's time for my shift. I need to hurry up and go.
You have a shift at your part-time job again today, Paige. Even though you should be enjoying your young high school life.
Huh? No, I'm fine though.
I'm always just having fun. And whenever I look at you, Paige, I feel so sorry.
No, I don't think there's any need for you to feel sorry over something like this.
Is that so? No, but when I was young, like you, Paige, I traveled the world. And I left it up to my courage and tried all kinds of things. Even when I became an adult, I wanted to get a Guinness World Record. And I tried eating hot dog without using my hands, or tried disassembling and reassembling Matryoshka dolls with a blindfold on as fast as possible. I got to challenge myself to whatever I wanted to.
Well, I remember hearing about when you ate too many hot dogs and got sick and was carried off in an ambulance, or when you bought too many Matryoshka dolls and Granny was furious with you. To be honest, I was shocked, but I also love how fun you are, Grandpa. My grandpa was someone with a pretty crazy head, but he was always thoughtful of me and my parents and would come over from time to time. And every time he did, I would get energy from him. My parents didn't like the idea of getting financial help from my grandparents, and I also agreed with them. If it came down to it, we would count on them, but until then, we all decided we would do our best until then. That's why Grandpa wasn't allowed to help us out financially at all. So even though we were poor, and even though I had to work every day and I was sleepy, I lived happily with my grandparents and parents by my side. But because of that person, I had to suffer. One evening...
Welcome! Thank you for coming. Oh man, that was good. Well, for an elite family like us to come here, it is a little bit cheap looking, but the taste is pretty decent, so I guess we'll use it for you.
Shoot, there he is, Michael. The guy that just came out of the sushi restaurant was named Michael. He was a guy in my class at school. Before our family became poor, I was always getting first place in our school exams, but Michael was always second. And ever since then, his jealousy towards me was really bad. And ever since I started working a lot of part-time jobs, Michael went past me and he became the first place in the school. But from there, as my test placement started to get lower and lower, Michael seemed happy, and he started bullying me like this. And then following Michael, his parents also came out of the sushi restaurant, and Michael's father apologized to the chef, and he scolded Michael. Michael's father was the CEO of a big trading company called Panic Trading Company. But the father aside, it was clear that the mother was spoiling Michael. He was only telling the truth, so you didn't do anything wrong, Michael, she said, and she was laughing. Both the chef of the sushi restaurant had a scary look on his face at the rude Michael and Michael's mother. And that was on. Michael noticed me standing next to them and...
Shoot! When I came to a peasant sushi restaurant, the peasant Paige showed up. Let's run away. I'm gonna catch her poorness and stupidity.
But then the father scolded Michael once again, and this time he started apologizing to me. At school, Michael was always like this to me too, but although I didn't pay any attention to him when he did. And then, 2 years later, I was applying for a certain university. In reality, I was thinking about getting a job straight after high school, but my parents and my grandparents said they wanted me to go to college. To be honest, the college wasn't necessarily that high level, but I was chosen as a scholarship student after graduating from high school, and I became a college student. And then I was able to graduate from that college, and I got a job. And then, after a few years had gone by, one day, Our company was going to be doing business with Panic Trading Company, and I became part of the team that was going to be in charge of that business. Michael's father seemed like a good person, and I didn't have any particular worries. However, one day I needed to contact Panic Trading Company, and so I called them and...
Yes, this is Michael of Panic Trading Company.
Shoot, Michael. I see. This guy, he got a job at his father's company. Thank you for your business. My name is Paige, and...
Paige? Wait a minute, is that Paige? My old classmate from middle school?
Yes, I am, but, in regards to the data material that we sent over the other day, I wanted to speak about...
I knew it was you! Interesting. So that means you're one of the people in charge of the business at that company, huh?
Huh?
I'm one of the people in charge on the Panic Trading Company side, but...
What? Are you serious?
I didn't know that it was a company with someone like you who graduated from a low-rank university. You probably can't even do a good job. You better not cause trouble to my company.
What's with this guy? Even though he's a working adult now, he still says immature things like this? I called you today because I wanted to talk about work, so can you please stop talking about personal matters?
We're talking about work right now. I'm telling you that you better not cause us any trouble. Unlike you, everyone here graduated from an elite university, and there are only elite employees at Panic Trading Company. You are a peasant who should have the most respect towards me. I can't believe that you're one of the people in charge of doing business with us. Obviously, I'm gonna be worried.
If we're not gonna be able to talk about work, then I'll call back another time. I'm gonna be hanging up now.
Huh? I don't have anything to talk to you about either anyway. Goodbye.
And then Michael ended up hanging up on me. I called a different person in charge of Panic Trading Company on their cell phone. I told them everything that Michael said to me, and that person apologized to me multiple times, and apparently he scolded Michael about it. The next week, there was gonna be a dinner between the people in charge of this project at our company and from Panic Trading Company. I knew that Michael was gonna be there, but unlike Michael, I wasn't gonna let personal matters into work and miss the dinner. I wasn't gonna do anything that immature, and plus, just in case that guy does something to me, I had invited a certain person as well, so I'm totally relaxed. And then when I told the other people in charge of this project that I had invited that certain person, they suggested that maybe I could be the person in charge of the dinner party. I informed the person in charge of Panic Trading Company as well that I would be in charge of planning the dinner, and so I made a reservation at that same sushi restaurant that was near my family home. However, on the day of, when I arrived at the sushi restaurant, along with all the people in charge from my company...
Yes, welcome.
Chef, good evening! Thank you very much for letting us do a private buyout of the restaurant today.
I should be the one thanking you for always using our restaurant. Your grandfather's always so kind as to come here often. I'm gonna put my heart into making the sushi today.
Yes, thank you so very much. And so my team and I were waiting at the restaurant, but even though it was 5 minutes after the dinner was supposed to start, the people from Panic Trading Company weren't there. Why hasn't a single person arrived yet? Even after 15 minutes, nobody arrived, and I tried calling the cell phone of one of the people in charge from Panic Trading Company, but then... What? The dinner this evening, wasn't it supposed to be at Hotel Restaurant? Was what they said. I was shocked then when I asked to explain what happened. Apparently, Michael said the sushi restaurant that I had reserved was no longer available, and so the dinner was changed to a restaurant that he had reserved himself. They also said that Michael told them not to contact me until dinner because I was going to be busy with work and not to bother me. Currently, apparently all of the people in charge from Panic Trading Company were at a fancy restaurant in a luxury hotel. That guy, how immature can he be?
Hey, give me the phone. Hello, Paige? There's no way that we would go to a restaurant that a loser university grad reserved, so you can cancel it.
And then he hung up the phone on me. That bastard Michael, he's so infuriating! Seriously, I made the right call in inviting that certain person here. Well then, Michael, let's have you see what it really is like at the bottom. You better be ready! I called the employee from Panic Trading Company that I had just called again, and I put my phone on speaker. And that employee and the other employees that were there were apparently already talking about heading straight to the sushi restaurant that we were currently at. And then I asked them to hand the phone to Michael and...
Huh? Paige is saying that I need to answer the phone? Hello? What do you want? There's nothing I want to talk to someone like you about.
But the people that are here with me right now, they've something they want to say to you.
Huh? The people who are there with you? Mr. Michael, I'm the chef of the sushi restaurant, but I heard that you told Miss Page that she better cancel the reservation. In that case, we would need to receive a cancellation fee. Do you understand that part of this? Huh? The cancellation fee? Make the loser woman who's there pay that. Just so you know, obviously, I'm not gonna be over there today. No, I think it would be best if you come here though. But why should I have to go over there? There's definitely no way I'm going, cause the president of your company is waiting. Huh?
And that was when...
Hey, Michael, can you hear me? It's me, the president of Panic Trading Company. What? The president?
That's right. The person that I had invited in advance was my grandpa. And it turns out that my grandpa recently became the president of Panic Trading Company. The former president and my grandpa were best friends over 20 years, and the former president was a huge fan of my grandpa. And apparently he approached my grandpa and asked him to take over his seat as president. To be honest, I was worried if my grandpa was going to be able to take on such a big role at such a big company, and I was super nervous, but no matter where he is, my grandpa always faces everything and makes it succeed. And these days, he's fully embraced the role and has the aura of a president.
What's the president doing in such a cheap restaurant like that? Cheap restaurant? This restaurant is one of my regular places. Michael, are you telling me that you're going to belittle my favorite sushi restaurant? Huh?
That was when Michael let out a pathetic cry on the other side of the phone. Actually, this president of your company's my grandfather.
Grandfather? But he has a different last name than you.
He's my maternal grandfather. By the way, because I didn't want anybody to look at me differently, that's why I didn't tell anybody that my grandfather was the president of Panic Trading Company. But the other day when I spoke to you on the phone, you got on my nerves too much, and so I decided the only thing I could do was pull out the family gem and...
No way, but at the very least, you should have told us that the president of our company was going to be joining the dinner. If I knew that the president was coming, I never would have done something like this and...
No, but my grandpa loves surprises, and he wanted to surprise all of the employees from Panic Trading Company, so he told me not to tell anybody that he was going to participate in the dinner today.
I haven't heard anything about this. Michael! Yes! Whether I were to come here or not come here, obviously this is not an acceptable thing to do. Yes, sir! It's exactly as you said, sir! I heard that you seem to have said some terrible things to Paige ever since you were high school students. Is that right? What have you done to my sweet, sweet granddaughter? I'm gonna have to call the CEO as well and make a complaint about this immediately. No, that's not going to be enough. I'm going to take the cruiser that I received from the previous president and take you out to the Tokyo Sea and throw you overboard and make you piranha food.
Grandpa, that's scary. Cut it out. But also, are there piranhas in the Tokyo Sea?
In that case, I'm going to tie this guy up with a rope and connect him to the back of the cruiser and drag him like this and...
Like I said, Grandpa, you need to cut it out with the scary talk.
I'm terribly sorry about this, sir. I'm gonna head over there immediately, so please forgive me somehow!
And that was when the phone call finished. Perhaps it didn't sound like a joke to Michael, what my grandpa was saying to him. A few minutes later, Michael had arrived in a taxi and he got down on his knees to apologize to me and my grandpa. The other employees from Panic Trading Company had come with him and they were all apologizing deeply with their heads down. Well, I had heard the situation and I couldn't blame any of the other employees there. But at that moment, when my goal was on the ground, "You bastard, what the hell have you done?" And a certain person's voice boomed through the restaurant as they came storming in. And that person was, that's right, the CEO of Panic Trading Company that my grandpa had called on the phone. This guy's father! The CEO came over and apologized to my grandpa and me multiple times. And then he promised us that he was going to make Michael pay for this in every way. On top of that, the CEO paid the full fees for the dinner to the chef of the restaurant, and then he grabbed Michael, who was sitting there on the floor crying by the collar, and he dragged him outside like this.
Forgive me, I'm sorry, Dad!
While being dragged out by the CEO, Michael became smaller and smaller. And then once the door was closed, it became quiet as though nothing had happened. After that, apparently, Michael's father, the CEO of the company, made him quit the company. He made Michael shave his head like a monk and then sent him off to the temple that had the most harsh training conditions in Japan. On top of that, he was forced to work at a factory late at night, and apparently doesn't have any time to sleep anymore. As for the CEO, the cost for the dinner as well as the cancellation fee, he only fronted that, and he collected the full amount from Michael's salary. On top of that, I heard that his mom and the CEO had gotten a divorce years before that. And as the parent, he felt responsibility to turn Michael from a bully into a respectable adult. And that's why he let Michael get a job at his company. But Michael stomped all over his father's kindness, and he did such a terrible thing. As for his mom, who was kicked out of the CEO's house, until now she had been living a life of luxury on her husband's income, and she wasn't able to lower her standard of living, and she ended up in the hands of the black market. Right now she's working in a dangerous company overseas somewhere, and she's having to do a job that risks her life without getting any sleep. It seems like the two of them are living a pretty difficult life, but they did this to themselves, so there's nothing that can be done about that. Well then, on the other hand, as for me, now that irritating Michael was gone, I really am glad. The business with Panic Trading Company is going steady, and every day is satisfying. Oh, that reminds me. The other day, I went to that sushi restaurant together with my grandpa, but...
Yes, welcome. Oh, Miss Page, and your grandfather. Chef, both Paige and I will have the chef's recommendation today. Yes, sir, coming right up. Please, take a seat at the counter.
That reminds me. I heard this from Grandpa, but Chef, you're actually a pretty famous chef in the industry?
That's a story from the past, that I used to be famous. It seems like you lowered your prices because you want your customers to be able to enjoy and easily access your sushi. But if you eat it, then the right people will know just how amazing his sushi is.
Yeah, agree. It's true that the chef's sushi is truly first class.
Here you are, your first bite.
Wow, looks delicious. I can't wait for another amazing meal. Thank you for watching. What kind of crazy people will we get to see next? Stay tuned for more.